ugly truth about nonprofits is that they're basically for-profits in sheep's clothing, like a tax-exempt sheep's clothing. And if you're thinking that working for a nonprofit is supposed to be your fast track to fulfillment, like how I thought it was, it just does not work that way. Unfortunately, if you're finding that working for a nonprofit is becoming more and more unbearable, then honestly, it's because it's really no different than any other soul-crushing 9-to-5, to be perfectly honest. And that's why I decided to go the social entrepreneurship route. In fact, this channel is all about giving practical strategies, guidance, and sharing knowledge to help you become a financially free and independent social entrepreneur. I have worked my entire life in nonprofits, and I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt that the main difference between dealing with problems working for a for-profit versus working for a nonprofit is that at a nonprofit, you'll get paid way less money to deal with those problems. Let's dive in. So, you'll learn quickly that a good portion of your job, of your work in general at a nonprofit, involves maintaining bureaucracy. Oh God, bureaucracy. Especially if you work for a larger nonprofit. Higher level administrators especially, they are extremely vested in maintaining the system, maintaining the status quo to make sure that their power and their paychecks are not hurt. And you'll also come to learn that even if you want to do something that would help your target group, the people you're trying to serve, in a phenomenal and new and innovative way, you'll quickly learn that if any of it, even if it's information they need to know, if it could potentially rub a sponsor the wrong way, then it just will not get done. The sponsorship dollar is king. And that can be to the nonprofit's detriment, because if it doesn't help or serve the community that you're trying to serve, literally the reason for your existence, then what is the point? The point will inevitably be just to maintain the bureaucracy. I want to be fair here. I'm sure this doesn't work this way for all nonprofits. Let's move on. Now, if you happen to be in more of an auxiliary role, so say for instance, maybe you're working in HR, IT, marketing, something like that, where you're not working directly with the population you're trying to serve, then honestly, it's even worse, because then all you have left, all you have is the daily minutia. Just the daily grind is all that you have. It's all that you see. And for most people, their jobs by themselves, their duties in and of themselves, do not give them fulfillment. And with nonprofits, you think that you're in this perfect opportunity to learn and grow and develop in your role, but in actuality, you're not. Even though you may have this noble mission, you being able to develop and grow and have flexibility in your role depends on the people that you work with and the people who manage you. Leadership, it's a huge driver as to whether or not you'll find fulfillment in your roles. And if I'm preaching to the choir here, feel free to comment "I know" in the comment section below. So let's talk a little bit more about why you're not learning, growing, or developing if you're working for a nonprofit. A lot of that has to do with the same issues that you would deal with if you worked for a for-profit, that frankly, you're still working and dealing with a group of people who are potentially still just there to get a paycheck. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It could be you. I know it was me sometimes. People gotta eat. But when you're in workplaces in general, people come to work with their baggage. And so that can affect how people think, how they lead, how they interact on teams. And inevitably, you're going to have to deal with those habits. You're going to have to deal with them. And it all can potentially accumulate into a toxic work environment. This is not a new phenomena for-profit places only. Toxic work environments can exist inside of nonprofit groups. It's not unlikely that someone like me, for instance, could be making 68 cents to the dollar compared to a white male colleague. Didn't happen to me. I worked in HR. There's no way there's no way I'd let that fly. But if you're not in the type of position where you can speak up for yourself, then what are you expected to do about it? And when it comes for working to nonprofits, just like working for for-profits, it's not only microaggressions that you have to deal with and unconscious bias. I mean, we're also just thinking about on the basic human level of never being really appreciated or valued for the work that you put forth. Those are real issues in the nonprofit space. Also, having to deal with really problematic managers that like to micromanage the hell out of you because of their own insecurities. That does still happen. You know, when considering in the past where I've wanted to work, I've always said to myself, you know what, I don't want to just work for any random for-profit company and just make a ton of money. I want to work for a place where I know that they're making a big difference in the world, where they're helping society in some integral way. I didn't want to just go work for a company that made widgets. Like, who cares about widgets? It's like, I didn't want to do that. And now I'm seeing that what I really, really want is to not only help and give back to the communities that need it the most, but I also want to not be broke all the time. I want to be financially free and independent. I want to be able to be in control of my own time. I want it so that I am the master of my schedule, and that the only people dictating what I can and cannot do are myself and my family, depending on the needs. So that's how I want it to be. And if that's how you want it to be too, if that sounds like that's your calling, then definitely download your free guide to accelerating your income as a new social entrepreneur, located in the description box below, and let's get this thing moving. Because another thing too, you can still experience burnout working for a nonprofit. I mean, the 40-hour work week in and of itself is already such a force, and there's plenty of research out there that can tell you exactly how true that is. But if we're also being completely honest, if you're anything like me too, then you've devoted way more than 40 hours a week on multiple occasions. I'm talking nights, weekends, even canceled vacations. And sometimes, to be fair, sometimes it's necessary, especially depending on what role you have. But if we're also being 100% honest with ourselves, there are plenty of times when it was not necessary, when we just wanted to sort of keep up appearances, when we wanted it to look like we were being productive and being a team player, mainly because we didn't want to hear anybody's mouth about it. And I'm tired of wearing masks. What about you? Like, I'm over it. Tell me if you are sick of putting on a mask and pretending everything is a-okay, because I am over it. Over it. So I'm imagining another way, where my income and my schedule are not dictated by anybody else's baggage or unconscious bias, where everything I do matters, and where I can maximize the impact on my corner of the world. I have no desire to be a girl boss or a boss or Mark Zuckerberg. I just want to live freely, fully, and give back. And if that sounds like you, then go on ahead and join the social entrepreneurship revolution. I mean, if it worked for Ben & Jerry's, that's all the convincing I need, frankly. For more strategy and mindset tips to help you on your journey to becoming a social entrepreneur, be sure to follow me on Instagram at A Tribe Called Liz, and don't forget to download your free copy of Accelerating Your Income, the secret guide, down in the description box below. And if this video hit a little too close to home, be sure to hit that like button, share, subscribe, and let me know in the comments below how you'd like to take care of your corner of the world. Be sure to check out my other videos to get the nitty-gritty on how to build a sustainable social enterprise. YouTube thinks you'll like that one, so feel free to check that out too. And I'll see you on Instagram. Bye!